Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are going to have a sudden last-minute substitution, but we are delighted to have Kevin Holmes serving as our musical leader. And so I'm going to turn it over to him with some wordless melody, and then we'll proceed accordingly. I'm going to let that person in while you're... Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you are like me, you were probably unnerved yesterday to see that new things are happening in Western Asia, and it feels like an escalation. I find it, I found myself a little taken aback by it. I'm going to talk about tonight how one should maybe take about 24 hours to think something through before you use social media, which I did do. But we're not really going to talk about it tonight. Rather, I'm going to focus on something else. But if you feel the need to talk about it at Oneg, I would be delighted to talk with you one-on-one or one-on-two about what's happening. So let's focus on Shabbat. And let's start with good and blessing. Well, the tohu v'racha that actually is constantly happening to us, even though we may feel overwhelmed by events close to us or far away from us. So I'm going to start over on this side of the room and see who the cripple with the hand injury. Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. 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 So that's your good and blessing that you got the same person? She does. Yeah. So Robin and I got to see her today also. So uh, we don't have to rely on one witness that she's doing better. We have three witnesses. And so, yes, I think that's a good and blessing also. Yes, Judge. Hmm. Hmm. Uh-huh. Right. Okay. Right. Very good. Yes, I randomly run into him too in the streets of Denton. It's shocking at first, but you do recover from it, and it's good to see him. And sometimes he even has a female accompaniment, so that's good. Did you want to add something to that, Austin? Okay, well, gotcha. All right. How about over here, Richard? Mm, okay. It is always good to see old friends. So, and now we're in that process of trying to pack in three old friends on a trip to San Francisco in the spring. We'll see if it all works out. Yes. Hmm. That is Facebook as its best. That and cats. So this side of the room. Yes. Good. Excellent. Yes, my dear. Okay. Okay. That's why we talk about this. Very nice. Hmm. So it's a small world after all. Okay. Yeah, yeah. I understand. Me too. But okay. It's all right. Can be turkey. Mm. Excellent. Outstanding. So, tuneful listening. Yes, Fred. Mazel tov. Hmm. Okay. Mazel tov mirosh. That's wonderful. All right. Betty. Wow. Wow. All right. Okay. Working further over. Anybody on this side? Anybody over there? No, no, no. How about for you?
Just in general, health is moving in the proper direction.
Right direction. I understand. Okay. Maybe in the tuna fish range of my thoughts. Whenever Avi is at work, every day he's at work, I will send him a pun, which for weeks and weeks and weeks he never gets it, and then I send it to him, and he sends me an eye roll or something like that. The last two puns I have sent him, he has anticipated the line. I'm very impressed with him. So that's my good and blessing is he's getting the joke. All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's my delight to invite up Ferraro. It's going to come to me. Dora. Thank you, Dora. Dora Ferraro to kindle the lights of Shabbat. We're going to be on page 1. Yeah, exactly. Nominal deficit is something that comes with old age. May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us. So, since we've done no prep whatsoever, okay, we're going to start with Psalm 99, which I think would be on page 4. 5, page 5. So we go to page 5, Romemu.
Romemu.
Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu lahar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu lahar kodsho. Ki, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu lahar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachtavu lahar kodsho. Please join me in the English translation. It is you who established equity You who works righteous judgment in Jacob, exalt Adonai our God and bow down towards God's footstool. God is holy. Exalt Adonai our God and bow down toward God's holy mountain, for Adonai our God is holy. Psalm 29. Havu l'Adonai b'nei lim, havu l'Adonai kavod, havu l'Adonai kivod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ascribe to Adonai, you children of God. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name, and worship Adonai in the beauty of holiness. May Adonai give strength to this people. May Adonai bless this people with peace. We continue now with Lecha Dodi. I'm going to look Richard in the eye and say, would you manage our usher role at the end of this poem? So we're going to do Lecha Dodi, as is our practice. On the final stanza, we're all going to rise, turn towards the door, and welcome the Sabbath into our midst.
Shalom v'zachor b'diborecha, Yishmi'anu v'chanyucha, Adonai echad shemo echad, L'shem tiv'ah. Lecha Dodi, Lecha B'nei Shabbat Mikabela, Likrat Shabbat V'chuvanecha, Ki B'kor HaBracha, Erosh Mikedem Mesucha, Tzomar Zevachakatila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat Mikabela, Adonai Mikrat Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat Mikabela, Itorari, Imaore, Kumiori, Uri, Shirdaberi, Kevod Adonai Alai Tefila.
Please rise.
Lecha
Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Mikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Mikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam v'simcha uzohoda, v'emunei am segula, boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Mikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Mikabela. Rouse yourself, for your light has come. Arise, shine, awaken, awaken, give forth a song. The glory of Adonai is revealed to you. So come in peace, you crown of your husband, with rejoicing and with joy. To those who are faithful, a treasured people, come, O Shabbat, come, O bride. We're going to continue now with Hatzi Kaddish on page 9.
Yitkada v'yitkada shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlech malchutei. V'chayechonu v'yomechon. U'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ankarim v'imru amen. Yesh me'Rabban Torah, le'am olam me'amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yipar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalav, shmei kudusha v'rechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Shulechata v'nechemata, Tamiram belma,
V'imru, Amen. And so, having just noticed that I'm not wearing a kippah, my apologies, and shame on you for not bringing it up, but that's okay. Before we go any further, how are you enjoying the seats, our new chairs? Feeling, okay, has that distracted you a little bit from the fact I wasn't wearing my kippah? A little stiffer? Okay, understand. All right, now, it's very fraught because of all the orthopedic injuries we've been suffering lately, but if able, please rise for the baruch.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorah. Le'olam Vaed.
Ma'ariv Arvim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'tvaro ma'ariv arvim, b'chochma potech sha'arim, u'vituna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakokavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirotzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tziva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Praised are you, Adonai, who makes this evening fall. Ahavat olam. An ending is your love for your people, Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts you have taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. And then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed. Please be seated. And for a change of pace, I'm going to invite you all to read the English of the Via Hafta with me. You shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your being. These words, which I command you this day, shall be upon your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Spread them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them, and so shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Emet ve'emunah. Emet ve'emunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu, ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'en zulato ve'anachnu Yisrael amo. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai, our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. And like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing. Mi chamocha, everybody. Having a little blank. It's all right. I get blanks too. He goes, ya da 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 da. Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah, 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 ba, bim, bum. Yeah, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, ba, bim, bum. Yeah, da, yeah, da, da, yeah, da, da, ba, bim, bum. Madonai, mi chamocha nerdar bakodesh, norati lo o seifele, norati lo o seifele. Ya da 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 da, ya da da ba bim bum. Ya da 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 da, ya da da ba bim bum. Ya da ya da da ya da da ba bim bum. Ya da ya da da ya da da ba bim bum. Did I come across a little aggressive with that one? Yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean that. That's all right. All right. Hush. What's that?
I think we just picked different starting.
I think we did. I think we did. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant that this night we should lie down in peace, Adonai, our God, and tomorrow raise us up, O sovereign, to a life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. We continue now with tefillah. Again, if able, please rise.
Adonai, Shabbat yiftahu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Haggadol Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, V'mehi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Rachman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham B'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. חיי אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, מי דומה לה, מימין חיי, מצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעלו כסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. And we are going to be continuing honoring Shabbat with Vishamru on the top of
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael, Hashabbat, Sore Hashabbat, V'torah V'torah, Visham b'nei Yisrael, Hashabbat, Sore Hashabbat, V'torah V'torah. Israel, Vishamru b'nei Israel, et Hashabbat, Basure Hashabbat, v'torah v'torah. Ki sheishet yamim Adonai, Adonai, et Hashabbat, et Vishamru b'nei Israel, et Hashabbat, Basure Hashabbat, v'torah v'torah. Vayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafar, Shabbat vayinafar, Shabbat vayinafar, as Vishamru b'nei Yisrael, et Hashabbat, Basore Hashabbat, v'torah v'torah.
We continue now with Reitzeh. Adonai, our God, show favor towards your people Israel and lovingly receive our prayers. May the worship of your people always be acceptable to you, for you alone do we hold in reverence. And Modim, we give thanks to you, Adonai, our God, God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation in every generation. So we thank you and we recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha l'chan lehodot. We're going to wind this part of our service up with Shalom Rav, asking for peace. It seems especially important and poignant tonight. So please join us, and then after we're done, let's take a moment for our own silent prayers and meditations.
Ki atah u'metador, v'kol hashalom. Ki atah u'metador, v'kol hashalom. Shalom Ra, Israel tasi le'olam. Shalom Ra, Israel טסים לעולם, וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בפורית ובראשה, בשלומך, שלום רב על ישראל, תשים לבם, שלום רב על ישראל, תשים לבם, תשים לבם, תשים לבם. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, wow.
So, as I think I alluded to earlier, events on Thursday left me a little, as we'd say in Yiddish, vermischt, or to use the old biblical term, flummoxed. And the idea of suddenly attacking Iran, not suddenly, I could talk about that later, but in any case, and trying to figure out what I needed to say about it, because it's my job to not only react myself, but to sort of frame things for you. And instead, all I could post was, I'm overwhelmed by the news. And then I posted some link. 24 hours later, I have something to say. I put up a couple of things on Facebook to try and help people understand. But it is a lot. A lot has been happening. So, of course, I went and looked what I could find, something to help us frame all of this or maybe redirect us in certain ways. And I went to my old friend, the Velveteen Rabbi. Velveteen Rabbi is a wonderful little blog posting thing that appears regularly and has been there almost since the time I began here, maybe 2003. I cannot tell you the name of the Velveteen Rabbi. I should know it, but in respect to Dora, I just can't recall the name right now. But in any case, you can look her up. She's online. And what I read was so good and so useful from my perspective that I decided, why do I need to write a sermon about this? So I'm going to use her remarks from 2014, which unfortunately are still very relevant today. About 80% of this is actually hers. So I just want you to know, a disclaimer, most of these thoughts are not my thoughts, but they're worthier. So I'm just going to tell you. I have been, and this is me, talking with rabbinic colleagues about how to best minister to congregants who are struggling with news about Israel and Palestine. We hear from people who are unable to fall asleep because they can't stop thinking about the images of destruction and grief, or who wake up and immediately start agonizing about this conflict or the next conflict, about worrying about loved ones, whether they are here or whether they are overseas. For some, the realities of what's happening provokes a crisis of faith. For others, those realities provoke only profound anxiety, and I say only with a certain caution. How can we best care for the people who are struggling with this in these ways? The question feels especially relevant because not only are we rabbis tasked with extending pastoral care to people who are struggling, but because we ourselves also struggle to maintain our emotional and spiritual equilibrium in the face of violence, destruction, and fear that is often intimately connected to us, to our community, to our people here and overseas. Maybe the first thing we can do is simply honor the reality of the struggle. A colleague pointed to me to something that I found really interesting. It was a piece of research that exposed that trauma can create trauma in those who are just watching what is happening, even from afar. Tens of thousands of individuals directly witnessed 9/11, an event a quarter of a century ago, but millions more viewed the attacks in their aftermath via the media, as I did. In our 3-year study following 9/11, my colleagues found that people who watched more than an hour of daily 9/11 related television for the week during the attacks experienced increased levels of PTSD, of post-traumatic stress syndrome. Symptoms like flashbacks, feeling on edge and hypervigilant, and avoiding trauma reminders, and well as physical ailments that afflicted them for the 3 years following. And the previous conventional wisdom had been that the indirect media-based exposure to trauma is not, quote unquote, clinically relevant. But this research found otherwise. And the article continues, the relevance of indirect media exposure becomes apparent again after the Boston Marathon. In the days following the marathon bombings, the University of California and Irving students and professors decided to replicate the 9/11 study and examine the impact of media exposure on the Boston Marathon bombings. Here's the conclusion which they reached, which is worth drawing your attention to, and that is that people who consumed lots of bombing-related media in the week after the bombings were 6 times more likely to report high acute stress than those who are actually at the Boston Marathon. Now, let me clarify here. We're not talking about those of us who are following stories out of Israel and Gaza from afar, that we're experiencing anything like the trauma that those are experiencing who are there. We recognize from afar that we can only barely begin to grasp the terror and the trauma. You know, my sons are safely watching television at home. Others people's children are being terrorized and being killed. So there's really no comparison. What I am suggesting, however, is the media we consume has an impact on all four of our human worlds, by which I mean our spiritual, intellectual, emotion, and even physical worlds. I know that my media social experience now is one of marinating in a constant broth of tragedy and anger, and I know that I feel compelled to browse Facebook or Blue Sky or whatever. I know you have your own methods, both because they are online spaces where I can typically check out, and many times a day, what's going on, and because right now they're also sources of important news. But every time I do so, I know for me personally, I come away wounded, crushed sometimes, short of breath even, because the situation is so unbearable from certain perspectives. Part of what's valuable to me about the articles that I've been reading is that it acknowledges and it legitimizes my lived experience, and I imagine in some ways it legitimizes yours. It's important that the realities of conflict be expressed. I know that it's important for those who are experiencing the tragedy and trauma of war, and here at home, a constitutional crisis, that their stories and images be shared with the world. I understand that, and I think we should honor that. And it makes it extra important that we who watch from afar, whether it be by television news or social media or print news or both, exercise the good judgment to take care of ourselves, of our own emotional and spiritual boundaries. Overexposure to trauma, even from afar, can damage us. Rabbi J. Michelson, my teacher, wrote an essay in the foreword called 5 Ways to Turn Down the Social Media Flame. This is an excerpt from it. We do teach communities of shared values, online as well as in person. And if those values are extremely one-sided or bereft of analysis or reflection, well, that matters, if nothing else, to the kinds of communities to which we and our children are exposed to live. Private messaging, half a dozen people in our congregation who have frequently posted on Facebook what seem, from our perspective, to be one-sided accounts of the current violence, shows the following. This very small sample includes ardent Zionists, moderate two-state Zionists, BDS activists, and anti-Zionists. None of them agree to post accounts both of Israeli suffering and of Palestinian suffering. Each side, each person insisted the other side is just wrong, morally deficit in some way. And there's really no point to discussing it because there's no equivalence between them. And that's already too much attention to the other side's suffering. If a bunch of privileged Americans with so little really at personal stake can't internalize the importance of the fact that there are multiple narratives, how do we expect Israelis and Palestinians, both of whom are living under threat of constant danger or imminent death, understand what I'm thinking while I sit behind a screen in America? How can they do any better than that? What he describes, privately connecting with people who occupy different places on the spectrum of opinion and discovering that none of them are willing or able to post accounts of the other side, each side insisting the other side is morally deficit and that there's no equivalence. That's sort of my experience too. The entrenchment that we experience is profound. and most of us aren't open to hearing the narratives of another side. It's tempting to want to respond to the echo chamber by shouting more loudly. Sometimes I do. But I think that giving in to that impulse can also engrave as the Velveteen Rabbi describes it, hurtful grooves in our hearts. Easily the mind becomes accustomed to a kind of thought pattern that gets stuck there, how our repeated thoughts shape and reshape the soft clay of our consciousness over and over again. So J. Michelson also writes about simple ways that each of us can take control of our interactions. Rabbi Michelson shares the questions he asked himself before posting, forwarding, or amplifying any news of Israel or Palestine. And he concludes with the final question he asks himself before he posts. He, first of all, points out the idea, he proposes a 24-hour social media fast, which is an important metaphor. The idea that we take a little time away from social media so that we may stew on it and reflect on it. And then, using Rabbi Michelson's metaphor, we should post only those things that we know are glot kosher, or more precisely, extremely just, 1, righteous, 2, compassionate, 3, and clear, 4. If we pick and choose before posting the same way a Hasid picks and chooses before eating a piece of broccoli, our Facebook feeds would be a little thinner and our collective blood pressure could also be a bit lower. So I appreciate his suggestion that we only post when we can exercise the discernment to tell what it is we're writing, that it is just, that it is righteous, that it is compassionate, and it is clear. And I would add we should exercise the same discernment in deciding how and whether to even participate in social media, even as readers. What we take in through reading or viewing enters our hearts and enters our minds. Some of us can manage that without experiencing trauma. I'd like to think I often can. Some of us are more emotionally porous and may be hurt by repeated exposure. And given any person may be at a different place in that spectrum at different times, maybe one day you're able to manage what you're reading, and the next day it just becomes too much. If watching the news or reading your social media leaves you struggling or panicking or experiencing nightmares or anxiety or even crying that won't let up, you are not alone. And what you're feeling is very, very much real. Different people experience trauma and heal in different ways. But the Velveteen Rabbi found the best tools include disengaging for a time from social media and the news. And when the obsessive, anxious thoughts recur, just notice them without judgment and redirect your thoughts in another direction. For me, that usually means either prayer or reading a horror novel. Sorry, but that really seems to help. But use whatever works for you. Music, exercise, thinking about an event you're looking forward to, talking to someone else, calling a loved one. Whatever works can help take you out of that loop. Marinating in a perennial bath of horrific news can actually cause us harm. We know that now. Whatever obligations you may feel to take on the heavy burden of the world for those who are suffering, you, I, each of us is not helping them by harming ourselves. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. All right, do we have an officer for announcements? Yes, yes. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so let's see, what do we got? We got office closed, Misha Barak list. Okay, let me draw attention to this because it's not on here, and that is this Sunday, 9 o'clock, I am going to be beginning teaching biblical Hebrew. I hope that some of you have signed up. I hope some of you will sign up and join me on 9 o'clock on Sunday morning and get started with this exciting. Hebrew is really easier than English, I promise you.
After tomorrow.
The day after tomorrow, forgive me, the day after Sunday at 9 o'clock.
You said Sunday, it's just the papers.
It's not this weekend? It's next weekend? What's this weekend? It's the 15th. You're right. Next week. Ignore this. Sorry about that. I'm rushing. Yeah, definitely sign up. Go to the website, sign up. It is a 2-day commitment. All right. It is Sunday at 9 o'clock and Wednesday at 7 o'clock, at which time I will put you all into Havruta, meaning into a team, and you will learn to read for each other, because at least 2 days a week is really what you need to be able to do that. So if you got the commitment, you got the time, I'd love to teach you some Hebrew. All right, now I'm
Do
back.
this.
I'm back.
Okay. So the office is closed. We know this. Bob will be out of the office on a graduation trip between the 16th and the 27th. The physical office will be closed and will reopen on the 30th, but Rabbi will still be available and can meet you at the shul if needed. Will be by appointment only, so if you do need to meet with him, reach out via email. If it is an emergency, you can call the office and use the emergency forward, which is the number 9 on your keypad, and that'll put you in direct contact with Rabbi's cell phone. If you have any questions or concerns for the office before its closure, be sure to reach out to Bob by email, or you can call the office. Okay, Misha Barak, before I read the list, let's see if anyone has anyone to add.
Francine Feingold and Aaron Rizzo.
Mark Davis.
And Bill
He may
Wilson.
already be on.
Goodman, Deborah Goodman, Carolyn Goodman, Steve Meyerdirt, James Newman, Lydia Ramirez, Bruce Sari, Lori Sutter Brown, Cindy Stratton, Susan Tabor, John Olas, Richard Webman, Cormac Williams, and Jeremy Smolik. And
Page 40 in the prayer book, or it's on your brochure.
Misha Be'era Oti Kora Bracha Mimote Make us so sweet who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage, make our lives a blessing, and let's say Amen. Misha Berachimotenu Mekor HaBracha La'otenu. Bless those in need of healing with Ruach Shema, their love body, their love spirit, and let us say Amen.
We continue to use the poems of my classmate Hannah Yerushalmi to honor those who continue to be held hostage in Gaza. But before I get to that, I just want to remark that one of the reasons that I have found being your rabbi has been so sustainable for the last quarter century is that you tell me all the time when you appreciate something I've done. You tell me occasionally when I've done something that really is questionable, but most of the time you're very nice, you're generous with praise. And I just want to tell you that I got a communication last week from someone who was really appreciative of her poetry, and I passed it on to her. And she sent me back a lovely message thanking me for that. So it's really good to tell the people around you that they're doing something right and doing something well. So keep that in mind. All right. So as we continue to think about the 59 hostages, many of them dead, but many of them still alive, and hoping for their return, I share her poem, O's. I used to love singing Oseh Shalom, imagining the peace in the heavens streaming down in rich threads and then tightly stitched into flowing hems here on earth. These frayed moments, I just want to murmur these potent words in a sinuous loop, binding us all. Adonai Oz li'anmo yitain. Give us strength, give us strength, give us strength. Now it's time for us to do our Aleinu and Kiddush, and I don't know, who am I going to pick on? I think I'm going to pick on Howard Watt, because come on up here, Howard. You do so much for the community. We're going to be on page 82, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, I invite you, if able, please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, l'tikdu l'yotzer rishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot harama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahen, v'goralenu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, U'tishtachani u'modim, Lifnei melech, Malchei HaMelechim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz, Moshav yikaro b'shamayim imal, Shechina zo, Shechina zo, v'kohem meromim, Eloheinu Eino, Emet Malkeinu v'pezulato, Kakatu v'torato, Yedatahayu, Yedatahayu, V'hashemota el babecha, Ki Adonai hu Elohim, V'shamayim imal, Ve'al haaretz mitachat eino. Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Shemo,
Ushemo, Ushemo, Echad. Please be seated. We take time now to remember the people who have touched us but are no longer physically with us, but are in our hearts and in our minds and on our lips. I invite you all, if we name someone that you are connected to, we invite you to please stand so that we know who is in mourning at this time, and then we'll all join together later. So I'm going to begin with Shiva. Who is here for someone they've lost in the last week? Anybody? Yes. Thank you. How about for Shloshim? Is there anyone here mourning for someone who's died in the last month? Okay. And for yard sites, we are thinking of Helen Cohen, Dr. Eric Fisher, Evelyn Glick, Jeanette Kowarski, Lorraine Lee, the mother of Bill Lee, Joseph Delbert Roseberry, Raymond Schapp, and Ann Watt. Is there anyone else who has the name of someone whose yard sites occur this week? No? Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you all to rise. Join me on page 85 for Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye v'chol beit Yisrael, v'galal uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran belma v'imru, amen. Hey, shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mroma, uyasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say, please be seated. I can see Lindsay Lev lurking in the back, so that means that there's going to be, no, don't look back, that you'll just encourage her. And that means we're going to be having a Ruta event after Kiddush. So any of the young people who want to stay, I encourage you to stay. So with that, what are we going to be doing? I know you've gotten no advance notice.
Yeah, I've got it narrowed down to
Okay, narrowed down. Yes.
or Lo Yisa Goy.
Lo Yisagoy El Goy is actually an excellent choice, given the events overseas. So let's do that.
Lo Yisa
Goy El Goy Cherev, Lo Yimedu Od Milchama, Lo Yisagoy El Goy Cherev, Lo Yimedu Od Milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cher, lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cher, lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cher, lo yimedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy herev, lo yimedu o milchama. May the time come soon when nation shall no longer lift up sword against nation, nor shall any of us study war anymore. Shabbat shalom, everybody.